Okay, so welcome everybody. This is Michelle Finnegan-Nixon with the Events We Like, where audiences are looking to discover you and learn in leisure on the go. And today we are doing the sought-after speaker intensive, and so we wanted to make sure that everyone knows about this very important event. It's going to help you in so many ways. And so for those of you who don't know who I am or who my guest is, Caterina Rando, my name is Michelle Finnegan-Nixon, and I am the founder of Events We Like. And I have been a performer since age 5, and so nothing excites me more than talking about the speaker world and getting on stages and performing and doing all kinds of things that speakers like to do. And you can learn more about eventswelike.com and also about me by going to eventswelike.com/Michelle. Today's teleclass is with the exciting Caterina Rando. Caterina Rando, are you there?
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here, too. Well, a little bit about Caterina. Caterina shows women entrepreneurs how to be loud and proud about the value they bring in order to make their businesses thrive. For over 20 years, she has been on a passionate mission to change the world with her brand of economic empowerment. That is a combination of running your business with integrity, always ongoing strategies, staying in action, and putting your whole heart into everything you do. And you can learn more about Caterina by going to eventswelike.com/Caterina Rando. What value are we hoping to bring you today? Well, today we want to provide you with some advanced speaker strategies that make you money in 6 weeks or less to help your community grow and help your business thrive. And again, you know, when you do these kinds of calls, a lot of times people want to know, you know, why should you listen to us, your host? Well, both Caterina and I have worked with highly successful speaker coaches, and I asked Caterina here today because she is a sought-after speaker, earning a high level of income and speaking on stages with the likes of Lisa Nichols. I'm not sure if anyone knows who she is, but she's one of the writers of that famous book called The Secret, and Caterina has shared stages with people like her. She has built a successful speaking career over the last 25 years. So we are very excited to learn from her today. And this call is being recorded, so those of you who get on the call late, I want to say hello, and you can listen to the replay. And, of course, ask us any questions by emailing me, Michelle, at eventswelike.com after you listen to the replay. I know that some of you are thinking, you know, we're going to make it sound so easy about speaking, but truth be told, speaking is at the top of the list of not such an easy thing to do. And for me personally, you know, I'm sure a lot of people think they can't do it. But Caterina and I know you can do this. Truth be told, we are both by nature very shy people. I know it's kind of hard to believe that. But we have figured it out, and we can't wait to share what we found with you today. So we have a lot to cover on this call for the next hour, but I promise you we will tell you how you can get more. This is the pre-event call for Caterina's sought-after speaker intensive, and I'm happy to say will be held in Las Vegas at the Palazzo in October this year, and we hope some of you will come play with us, but more about that later. This call is about helping you become a sought-after speaker on your terms. The transformation shall begin now. So what are we going to cover today? Caterina and I are going to try to give you as much information as we can in an hour and 15 minutes, but we promise before we finish we will tell you how you can get more. And if you are on Facebook, you can find the Events We Like page and comment and message us there. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So how does one get started speaking yesterday and today? Is there a difference? Well, we're going to be taking turns covering the following: how to get started in speaking, how to advertise yourself to get speaking gigs, tools of the trade you absolutely must have, the latest JV and affiliate strategies, including best practices on building a community and who wants to, you know, who's going to support you and promote you, even if you're new or don't have a very large list. Secrets to developing your talk and walking your talk to the bank, basically earning money while you speak because you bring value. And so that's pretty much all I have to say for now. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Caterina, I'm going to go ahead and let you take the floor. You are the expert for becoming a sought-after speaker, and I don't want to ramble too much on this call. So why don't we go ahead and get started with the first section, how to get started in speaking. And I'll go ahead and turn the floor.
Sure. Let me be very clear that what we're talking about here today is how to use speaking to reach more people, to gain more clients, to serve more in a way that is fun, that can be more productive and gain you more Insta clients than anything else. You know, you have to imagine the idea of you jump in your car, you drive 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you go talk to a room of people that never met you, never heard of you, and by the time you come home, you've got 10, 15, 20 or more new clients. And that's what sought-after speakers do. They get booked with ease, they come home with clients with ease, and there is absolutely nothing better. Now, Michelle knows, everybody knows, I love social media, I love Facebook, I love all of this, I love getting clients online, I have lots of online things. You know what, though? There's nothing better than walking out of your house, giving a talk, and coming home with new clients. And that's what I have mastered, and that is what I teach to the people that come to our sought-after speaker summits. So the first, and the other thing is that I'm very different in some of my positions than some of your traditional speaker trainers that you've been listening to for years with perhaps with not any great results. And I'll discuss with you why and why not in certain places. But the first strategy I want to share with you in our 10-step process, and I don't know if we'll get to all 10 today, to be a sought-after speaker is to first create a criteria. Number one is create a criteria for the audiences that you want to speak to. And this is one place where I differ from what a lot of people taught me, and took me a long time to figure it out, who teach go talk to any group, anytime, any place, because you can use the practice or for the practice. I am so anti that because let me explain why. And if you've ever spoken to a group of people that are not your ideal clients, you will absolutely resonate with this. There are two kinds of audiences. There's a show-me audience, which is the audience of people that are your ideal clients. They're open, they want to learn, they're excited to hear what you have to say on the topic that they're interested in. That's a show-me audience. And then there's a prove-it-to-me audience. And a prove-it-to-me audience is an audience that's not really interested. They may not be interested in the topic. They just came for the networking. And they're consciously or unconsciously asking you to prove to them why they should bother to listen to you. And when you have a prove-it-to-me audience, you have to work so hard to keep them engaged because they're not giving you their attention. They're wanting you to earn it. Now, for some of you say, well, yeah, you can earn it. Yeah, you can earn it and you can give an awesome talk. But because they're not your ideal clients, you're not going to come home with clients. And when you don't come home with clients, you are wasting your time. And your time is important and it is precious. And I want you to value it greatly. And in fact, I want you to have a clear number for what a day is worth. And if you're going to leave your office to go somewhere and give a talk, that you better make at least that much revenue. I remember one day I went to talk, this is a few years back, I jumped in my car, I drove about an hour and a half, and I gave a talk to people that worked for the government. And it was about an hour and a half talk, jumped back in my car, came home, and I was home for a late dinner. I was very happy because I got a nice big check for that speech. The thing is, though, I really earned that money, and that was the day because I had to work really hard because they were very prove it to me because they weren't my ideal clients. And it's important for you to get clear as early as possible as to who you talk to and who is not really the right match for you, because it's not about the speech. It's not about getting booked. It's about providing service that is going to result in clients that are going to become long-term and lifelong clients. So I want to make sure you heard that. We're not looking for one-off speeches. If you are, you're going to spend your life dialing for dollars. Because as speakers, when we do an outstanding job, you know what they say? Thank you so much for doing an outstanding job. And then you say, thank you, I'm so excited to work with you, and I would love to come back and do it again with you next year, or next month, or in 6 months when you have your summer conference. And they say to you, oh, no, we'll have to have somebody else. I'm going back east in a few weeks to talk for a group that I love to go talk for. It's the third time they've had me, the third time in 7 years, because even though they love me, they can't have me keynote their conference year after year. So it's very important for you to recognize that to have a thriving, massively monetizing business, you want to do more than just keynote. And that's where your group coaching programs, your seminars, your retreats, your live events that you can offer audiences will significantly enhance your revenue, because you want to, again, cultivate long-term and lifelong clients. And that's what you do when you follow the sought-after speaker system. So the first thing is only go talk to your ideal clients, and that is number one. Number two is get your speaker sheet done. Now, I call it a speaker sheet. It could be your speaker page. It could be your speaker video. Get something that you can give to meeting planners or program coordinators or education chairs to show them that you are an established speaker. Because when you say to a meeting planner or a program chair, hey, I would love to talk for your group, what are they going to say to you? They're going to say, send me your stuff, right? That's what they're going to say. Well, you better have some stuff to send them. I remember several years ago, I was at this big fancy luncheon. It was actually in downtown San Francisco where I live, and it was the speaker was not Gail King, another editor. And for some, I guess it was early in the magazine's in the magazine being out, and so they invited all the women leaders from San Francisco to this luncheon, and I was on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, so they invited me. And Jones New York, the clothing company, was one of the sponsors. And I just, this luncheon was so fun, and the speakers, and I walked up to the meeting planner, and I said to her, hi, my name's Caterina. Thank you so much for inviting me to this luncheon. It's been so fun. And you know what? I'm a speaker if you're looking for more speakers for other events. And she said to me, Caterina, that sounds great. I actually have another event in this area next month. Do you have any speaker information that you can send me? And she asked for a video also. And, of course, I had a video. I had speaker information, and I sent it off to her, and I got booked by Jones New York to speak at several locations. They also gave me 2 wardrobes. It was awesome, not only for 2 reasons. One, I was willing to be loud and proud that I'm a speaker, and that's another important strategy. Walk up to people don't know. You have to walk up to them and tell them that you're a speaker. And also, I had my speaker materials done so that I had something to give her right away. And I cannot tell you how often I talk to people and they say to me, well, I'm getting my stuff done because so-and-so asked for it, but it's been weeks since they asked. So it's like getting your fancy dress so you have a fancy dress when an occasion comes up. get your speaker sheet, get your speaker page on your website, get your speaker video or MP4 done so that you can be ready for any exciting opportunities that come up. Number one, create your criteria. Number two, get your speaker stuff done. Michelle, do you want to jump in here, or do you want me to just keep going?
I want you to keep going. I'm wondering if we should just let you do your thing, and then I can come back to make sure that those bullet points that we promised everyone were actually tackled. So why don't you just keep going? Thanks for asking, and then I'll chime in.
Okay, great. Well, let me hit on. So you mentioned here about how to advertise yourself to get speaking gigs, and really what I would say, and I don't really necessarily feel that you need to advertise to get speaking engagements, but what you want to do is you want to be loud and proud. And one of the things that I often do and tell my clients to do that works really well is to post on Facebook that you just got booked for XYZ speech, and make sure you always include the topic so they understand what topic you present on, and ask for more speeches. And I got booked, I did this a couple years ago, and I got booked actually 2 years in a row, one to keynote and one to do a breakout session for a major women's conference here in California. And I have talked about this over and over in radio interviews and in magazine articles, and I love it when people tell me that they turned around and did it right away and they got bookings out of it. Don't wait. Right now, don't hang up, but go post on Facebook, post on LinkedIn that you have a great talk on XYZ. And so you might say, well, Caterina, you just said if you get booked. Well, if you get booked, it's always time to be loud and proud about getting booked and that topic. But also, even if you don't have a booking, you can say, hey, I'm taking bookings through the end of the year, or my calendar is already full for this year. I'm taking bookings for next year on these topics. And the more you consistently be loud and proud, the more you will find that you will get bookings. Now, in terms of actual advertising, I want to tell you that what I would advertise is a free call or a free webinar or a free intro event. And what we find with Facebook ads is, and I'm speaking specifically about Facebook, Google is not quite as hot as it used to be in terms of advertising. Facebook's kind of taken over. For some of you, LinkedIn might be a better place to advertise. Social media advertising is most effective in offering your free things. And one of the strategies that I like to use to book myself solid and keep the Insta clients flowing on an ongoing basis is the live and in-person intro event. Again, you could do a free teleclass, free webinar. I like the live and in-person intro event, and I have tested this over and over because you always want to test everything for a couple of years now before I started teaching how to do intro events. And what we found is that the 2-hour intro event that is in someone's area, meaning they don't have to travel very far to come and be with you, is a great strategy to gain Insta clients. And I do advertise those free events through targeted advertising, meaning the age, gender, interests, and location for the people I'm looking for. And that's a strategy that I recommend for you. I can tell you one client of mine who's a health coach for women, she started this as soon as she started her business. She started doing intros. And the first night she had 12 ladies there, and 4 of them signed up in the room, and 6 of them signed up within the following week. So from one speech or 1 2-hour event, she launched her practice. That
Wow.
is really exciting. Yes, and that's what's happened. And her name's Kim. I just give you one example. I could go on and on and on with the number of clients that have been massively monetizing with an intro event.
Well, I want to add something to that intro event you're talking about, because I followed your advice, and my second week in Vegas, I went to another event, and I was talking to a gentleman about how I was teaching people how to do their elevator pitches. And he immediately goes, "Can you talk to my group?" And I had the little bell, the Caterina Rando bell, go off in my head. Well, there's an opportunity right there. It's like when you have people in a one-on-one conversation, and then they say, "Oh, can you talk to my group?" That's a perfect opportunity. That is an intro. And I thought, gosh, it really is true what you're saying, that people, they'll ask you to come to my house, or, and instead of turning those things away because they didn't seem maybe at the time as a legitimate speaking opportunity, the reality is that you can get clients anywhere, even, I don't know, a Tupperware party or, a church social. I mean, really, is that what you mean by the intro? Because that's how I did it.
Actually, that's a little bit different, Michelle, but when you talk about somebody's living room, I call that an intimate intro.
Okay.
And I will say that I do recall a couple of years ago, I went and I spoke at a conference, and I was doing a keynote for a conference. I had a booth there. I had to pay for staff to be at my booth. There was about 150 people in the room. It cost me money for, the accommodations and all of that. I came home with 16 clients, and it was 3 days of my time, right? You got to get there, you got to do it, got to come home. The next day, I went and I did an intimate intro in someone's living room, where one of my clients invited 9 of her friends to come and hear me talk. By the time I left her house, I had 8 new clients. Everyone signed up except the lady that was 8 months pregnant. Now, I share that with you because by comparison, it took me I was out of my home office for 6 hours for that intimate intro. Came home with 8 clients. My cost of marketing was 0 compared to 3 days out of the office. Even though it was a big audience and we got lots of people on the list, we got 16 new clients, it still wasn't, the time-dollar equation was better for the intimate intro. So I want to be very clear that if somebody wants to get some potential clients together for you, be an insta yes to do that. If it's, I've done 30 ladies in somebody's kitchen, which is wonderful. I've also done 75 people for an intro at a hotel. Whatever, be an insta yes if somebody wants to get clients together for you. Now, you mentioned about the Tupperware party, Michelle. Here's the thing. When you're speaking, you want to be the only thing on the menu.
Right.
Let me be very clear about that. Or the only thing on the agenda. If there's jewelry, Tupperware, purses, chocolate, wine, forget about it. You lose, okay? Because now it's a social occasion and not an educational occasion. So it's very important that you make sure that there's nothing else on the agenda. So I'm happy to go to Lady's house for an intimate intro, but not for if there's other things going on, and that's really important. So let me just sidebar here and say, my friends, I want you to be the VIP speaker and not the diva speaker. The diva speaker is the one that says, oh, well, I only go and speak to the elite groups. And, I would never go speak in someone's living room. Well, yes, but her calendar is less full and her bank account is also less full than the VIP speaker, who is happy to be accommodating to meeting planners and is happy to come early or stay late or pose for pictures or add in MC services or do whatever it takes to support the meeting planner and be their partner to have a great event. The VIP speaker will also go and do intimate speaking engagements because she's more savvy and she knows how to come home with clients when she does that. be the VIP speaker. The VIP speaker also sends in their stuff early. They get their handouts in early. They get their PowerPoint in early. They get there early so that they can have time to troubleshoot any challenges that come up. And things come up all the time. I remember I was keynoting and doing a breakout session for a national conference, and they asked me what kind of mic I wanted, and of course I wanted a lavalier mic for my keynote, but they thought I didn't need a mic for my breakout session. Well, there was 100 people in the room, and you always want to use a mic. So fortunately, I was there early, and even though there was mics in all the breakout sessions, they were able to accommodate me. But if you do it at the last minute, if you're the speaker who walks in right before your introduction, you will have problems. That's the diva speaker. Don't be the diva speaker. Be the VIP speaker. Very, very important.
I love that. In fact, you reminded me of when Barbara Streisand went on Oprah and she painted the microphone white. When you said that, I immediately went to, well, she's a VIP, but she kind of was a little diva-ish when she painted the microphone white. But it was very cute to make sure you have, what you need. But I wanted to tap in a little bit on the advertising yourself, because we were talking about different angles on that. What I mean by advertising yourself to get speaking gigs is there are a lot of different speaker bureaus out there. One is like speakers.com. There's like National Speakers Association. I belong to Public Speakers Association with Tanya Hoffman because I like to hang out with other speakers, and I want to make sure that I'm staying current, with some of the, best strategies. Just like, how, you hang with people like Lisa Nichols and, those types of speakers to stay current and relevant and to see what's really working best in the industry. And so in keeping up with this idea of helping speakers get known, I actually created like a media kit for speakers as well, eventswelike.com/Caterina Rando. That is, me celebrating you as a sought-after speaker. And so there are a lot of different organizations that people can belong to let people know that they are loud and proud, that they are the expert in a particular topic, and that hopefully people will, reach out to them and ask them to speak for their group. But I did really appreciate this idea of being a VIP speaker, making sure that you're speaking to the show me audience versus the prove it to me audience, so that whatever your talk is doesn't fall on deaf ears, and that you're actually able to make a living speaking. And
well,
I really did appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And, Michelle, a couple things related. So, first of all, absolutely network with other speakers. And, if you can't do something, suggest something else. And always, when you go somewhere, ask them what they have coming up and refer other speakers that you think would be a good match for them. And you could even have a referral commission arrangement. Most speakers would be more than happy to give you a commission if you help them get booked. The thing that I want to point out here is that everybody talks. And this is where not being the diva is really important, because you may think that not all the meeting planners and conference producers and event coordinators know each other, but guess what? It's like not even 6 degrees of separation. It's like 2 degrees of separation. They all talk to each other. They all know each other. And it doesn't matter. Let me be very clear about this. It doesn't matter only how good you are as a speaker on the platform. It matters perhaps even more how you are off the platform. There is a lifetime supply of outstanding speakers. I mean, we know that, right? There's a lifetime supply, which is why it matters how you are off the platform. I remember I was at one of my events in Dallas, and a lady came in who I've known for years, and she was doing a big conference. And she asked me, and I was already booked to speak at that conference, and she asked me about another speaker. And she and I have been friends for many years, the meeting planner, and I like this other speaker very much. But she said to me, I'm not sure about her. I've heard mixed things about her. And I had to tell her the truth, my personal experience, not gossip, not what I heard, my personal experience, which was that I booked this speaker, and the day before my event, she told me she said she got a better offer and she canceled at the last minute.
Oh my gosh.
So that was the truth. It wasn't gossip, it was the truth. And because I like that meeting planner and was already booked for her event, care about her, want her to thrive, I don't want her booking a speaker that may flake on her. So it's really important that everybody recognizes that everybody does talk. And this is why your behavior off the platform is equally as important as your behavior on the platform. And that's where this idea of being a VIP and not a diva is so important. You know, I used to be a caterer, so I get there early. I clean up my meeting room if it's not clean. Sometimes I call the banquet staff, but if they don't get here fast enough, I take care of it. Speaking is 10% speaking and 90% schlepping. Now, hopefully you have help with your schlepping, but don't be above it, because it is how you are off the platform that your meeting planners and your event planners remember. Again, they only have good speakers. So it's how you are as a professional that impacts whether or not you're coming back and whether or not you're recommended.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's true. It's true. People talk, and you want to make sure that you're being your best all the time. You know, that best practices really kicks in. If you're doing your best all the time, people will want you back and keep asking you to come back. And so that's very important. You kind of touched in some of the tools of the trade that you absolutely must have. You said something about a microphone. You said something about PowerPoint. You said definitely your speaker sheets. What about?
Well, let me actually say that you do always want a microphone, even if you have 20. You know, I'm speaking for the next couple of days. I've got about 20 people for 2 days for a training, and I'm still going to have a microphone. I mean, they can all hear me, but your microphone adds authority, so that's why it's also very important, but also it preserves your voice. And your voice cannot go for 2 days without ramifications if you haven't done a lot of speaking. After a while, you have the ability to go for 2 or 3 or 4 days of speaking without having it reflected in your voice. But until you are, your voice is trained, so to speak, or has gotten used to it, it does take time. So always use a mic. Regarding PowerPoint, PowerPoint is a tether. And I use PowerPoint less and less. I do use it for very large audiences because it adds the visual component. And I do use it at my 2-day events. But I have not 100 slides. I might have 20 slides for 2 days because it's a tether and you have to go through everything. And if you're a more experienced speaker, you're not following your script, you're not following your outline, you're more focused on the people in the room and what do they want and going and giving them what they want. So be cautious of PowerPoint, that you're using less slides and not more if you are using it at all, and you don't have to, because it is a tether. Now, just to say a little bit, Michelle, because I know you wanted me to chat a little bit about developing your talk. So let me be very clear. Your stories, if you have some great stories, those are crafted. And they don't even have to be memorized, but they're crafted. And I want to make a very important distinction here. There's a lot of talk in speaking about acting and theatrics and drama. And my position is that is fine for entertainers, and not that as speakers we don't want to be having an aspect of entertaining. But what is more important from speakers is authenticity.
Right.
Authenticity, being yourself. And not everybody is dramatic, and not everybody is funny. And it's more important that your authentic self come through when you're presenting. So it's very important that you outline your talk, that you tell them, of course, in the beginning what's going to be covered, that you discuss your must-make points, which are the key areas that you want to share, and you share those, and that you have a call to action at the end. There is not, and so many speaker trainers would have you think, that there is a one way to give a speech. There is not one way to give a speech or a training. As long as you have a strong opening and a call to action at the end, and you are engaging the audience throughout, and they feel that you're with them and not talking at them, you're not overwhelming them with too much content, which is a common rookie mistake. The yardstick to use is, are they getting massive value? And as the speaker, for you to assess, is the audience getting massive value? And let's just cover, Michelle, a few of the ways that we deliver massive value to an audience. The first, which most of us are the most familiar with, is, of course, education. Sharing information and educating them and advising them on whatever the hot topic is. There is also inspiration. Inspiration is when we tell our clients stories of how our clients are successful, and we say Sheila was not doing well at all. She came to our seminar, she applied these strategies that I'm sharing with you right now, and as a result, she has a six-figure business for the first time ever. That is inspiring. Of course, you would illustrate her story a little bit more. That's inspiring. When we can see ourselves in others, that's inspiring. And it could be your stories and examples, but also use your clients. Don't just talk about you, other people that you've encountered. That's inspiration. Motivation is different. Motivation is when people feel called to action. They feel motivated to do something. And that is what we want. Like, for example, you might hear a Olympian athlete talk about their victory to win a gold medal. Well, most of us are not pursuing gold medals, so it's inspiring, but it's not necessarily motivating. Unlike if we hear someone talk about having a great relationship and they inspire us with how they transformed their relationship, they can then motivate us by telling us some steps that they took, and we can be, in fact, called to action to take those steps because their inspiration and their now sharing the steps has motivated us to take action. So inspiration, education, motivation are all essential in your talk. And the last part, and this is the part that is harder to create because it requires not only what you do, but what the participants are willing to do, and that is transformation. Transformation is something else you want to bring in to your talks. But guess what? The audience needs to be open to transformation. And they are open to transformation when they trust you. And that doesn't always come from one speech. So as you're crafting your speech, don't just focus on education. Focus on inspiration, motivation, transformation, because that is a good speech. Very, very different than what you might have learned in the past. Related to this is to make sure that during all of this, the audience is engaged. They're engaged not just by what you're saying, but perhaps by what you're asking them to do, because experiential learning will have the audience be way more engaged than when they're just sitting and listening. Now, this is 2.0 stuff here, 3.0 stuff here. But this is what sought-after master speakers are doing. And let me throw in here because, like many of you, I've been to many, many, many trainings, and I value every training I've ever been to because there's always something to learn and gain. And, of course, last year we did 96 days of training for women entrepreneurs and women speakers. And my thing that I want to really emphasize with you is that we move towards mastery with every speech we give and every time we take a class. And mastery does, though, take a lot of hours that I can see now, having made the last 3 years, done at least 90 days of training the last 3 years. This year I'm probably closer to 110 speaking and training days, hopefully bringing it down next year. With all of that, simply having hours on the platform, you get better and better and better. And like Malcolm Gladwell said in his book Outliers, it does take 10,000 hours to get through mastery. What I want you to know, though, if that seems like an overwhelming number, if you're just getting started, is that every hour brings you an hour closer to mastery. And you will find that the more you are doing your thing, meaning speaking and training, the more you will have a feeling of mastery. And when you're in mastery, you can dance in the moment. That's what I like to call it, dancing in the moment. Mm-hmm. Meaning modifying your talk, modifying your training in the moment based on what is needed in the room, by the whole room or by a participant. Modify your talk or your training based on the level of energy that's in the room. Modify your talk or your training based on the level of engagement that you see in the room, based on the level of openness. Now, this is all things that master speakers can do. And you have these 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th senses that you cultivate because you don't have attention on yourself and you don't have attention on the words that are coming out of your mouth because you're at ease with both of those. So now you have all your attention on the people in the room and what they need and what serves them. So that's what happens when you get your 10,000 hours in. Now, you might say, Caterina, you just told me earlier not to take every speech to get to practice, so how do I get my hours in? And the answer is simple. And not only is it simple, it's easy, and it is the best way to thrive as a speaker. And that is you do your own events. You provide your own training days. You provide your own intro events. You have a virtual training program. You create your own things. And even if you're a corporate trainer, you still have some other things that you offer on your own. Because when you can book yourself solid by offering your own things, you will find that you will be massively, massively, massively monetizing and really serving more people at the same time.
That is excellent. I love what you said there. That is, it is so true that mastery, it's funny because when you start out speaking, and you're following somebody else, you tend to copy or you mimic, and it's very unnatural. And then, you're not being you. You're just trying to be, just like the expert you're following. And then as time goes on, you start to mix your own soup. And when you talk about thousands of hours to mastery, what's really funny about that is at the end of that, if there is even an end, is you realize that you become yourself, and we call it being in the zone, being in the moment. When you finally shed away all the expectations that everyone has on you on what is the so-called, best speaking, way to go. And when you're able to just be you and step into your own uniqueness, and you've had those thousands of hours to practice so you feel completely comfortable being only you and mixing your own soup and doing your own talk, that I really believe that that's when the magic happens. That's when you are the most connected to your audience. That is when everything's most real. And like you said, you can take that piece of paper and you can throw it away, because in the spur of the moment you can feel when the time is right to just talk to maybe someone in your audience, because it's the right thing to do, even if it's not what you intentionally crafted. But yet you have crafted a talk to keep you on track, but it's not going to throw you if you decide that you become inspired and you make a discovery in the moment when you're in front of a group of people. And so I really love the idea that mastery happens in the doing, and just, trusting that you are going to get there. And then to add your own event to make it happen faster on your own terms is even better, because then you don't have to worry about the judgment of others, because a lot of people will, say, oh, you're not doing it right, there's too many ums in your talk, and oh, you don't look right. And like you said, if you're with the right audience, they love you for who you are. They're there for the right reasons. They're open. They're attentive. And then if you are doing your VIP, you're really on your own game, making sure that they're going to get exactly what they came for, then you're going to have a wonderful time being a speaker, and you will be sought after because people will remember you. One of the things I love about Caterina is she's all about love, and not a lot of people show that. Some people, they're unapproachable, or they're only approachable if you have a credit card in your hand. And Caterina's never that. Caterina's always very loving. And one of your clients says that you have to, sometimes you have to be the product. And if you're teaching love, then you better be about love. Caterina, I don't know if you're teaching love, but you certainly are about love. And you had mentioned that one of the things that has helped influence you in crafting your topics and creating your programs is having a set of values that you're in alignment with. And so I thought that might be a good segue, is to really talk about what that means, being in alignment with your values so that your talk means more to people, because they know that they really are talking to someone who isn't performing but has actually got their best interests at heart. So do you want to share on something like that?
Yeah, let me just say that it's important to cultivate a list of values by which you live your life and run your business. And guess what? They're the same set of values. There is no differentiation between who you are at work and who you are in your personal life. They are the same when you are an authentic speaker, which is why it's so great to do your own events, because you get to be yourself and you don't have a client that you're wanting to match what they need and their values. You will find once you start doing your own events that working and being a speaker for other people does feel like work compared to doing your own events, and it's much more authentic to you and what's important to you. And, of course, love and integrity and generosity and accessibility are a few of the values by which I run my company. I do recommend that you don't be the behind-the-curtain speaker that only comes out on stage and then apparates and nobody can see you until they come to be in the room in your audience again. You absolutely want to be accessible to your audience and connect with people. Michelle, I want to make sure we touch on a few of the other steps to be a sought-after speaker, because I know that we're starting to wrap up our time. And
sure.
One of the things, if you've listened to all this, you say, okay, that sounds good, and but what, show me the money. So let me show you the money, okay? So what I teach and what I do and what I see work over and over and over for all the ladies that I support in being loud and proud about their business and growing their businesses is that I am all about speaking and making what I call an easy yes offer and coming home with clients. Now, let me give you an example. I did an intro of a few weeks ago, and there was 20 ladies in the room, 20 women entrepreneurs, and about half of them, about 10 of them, signed up for my easy yes offer. That's a 50% close ratio. Now, as a speaker, you're getting at least 30 or 35 is what you want on the low end. Of course, the higher the better. I've gotten as high as 100%, 75, 80. 50 is very good, in my opinion. So anyway, half the ladies sign up. for my Easy Yes offer. Within 3 weeks of that day, half of those ladies in the room had spent at least $5,000 with me for something else. And some of them signed up for our Breakthrough Luxury Retreat. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 of them signed up, which was another $3,600. Now, I share this with you to tell you that the mistake that a lot of speakers make is they make their big offer at the end of a speech. And what that does is only capture the top, usually 3 to 5% of the people that can comfortably or uncomfortably make a big financial decision in that short amount of time. When you make an Easy Yes offer, which is the easiest price point people can work with you at, you capture all of the interest in the room. And that's what you want to do. And here's a super tip alert. The more time an audience spends with you, the more they're open to investing with you, and the more they're open to invest. And I'll give you a perfect example. I spoke at a conference. I offered a $2,500 something. There's 100 people in the room. 3 people sign up. Now that's $7,500. Not bad for an hour speech. Actually, it's terrible because I gave the same talk to another group a couple weeks later, same number of people in the room, 100 people in the room, 25 ladies signed up. Now I came home with 25 clients instead of 3 clients, and over the course of the next few months, those 25 clients turned into over $60,000 worth of business. That was a couple of years ago. Some of them are still my clients, still investing in programs with me. So I want you to recognize that your Easy Yes offer, which we will put time and attention on when we have our sought-after speaker intensive, is essential. And when you know how to do that, you will be set for life. And let me tell you, I feel that I am set for life, not because I own real estate, which I love, and not because I've written books and know how to do many things. The only thing that I feel will guarantee me ease for life is the ability to give a speech and come home with clients. And even when I'm an old lady and I can't walk anymore, I'll be on my Segway going back and forth across the stage, giving a talk so that I can continue to serve. When you know how to give a speech and come home with clients, you will be set for life. If you know how to give a speech, but you don't know how to come home with clients, you will struggle because you'll always have to be depending on someone else to give you money. I have a client right now in our Thriving Speaker Platinum program, which is my advanced program for speakers, and she has been a speaker for 25 years. The problem is that she has gotten tired of doing corporate training where she's relying on everyone else to book her and to give her a paycheck and to tell her when she can go and where she has to go. And now she wants to follow this strategy of making Easy Yes offers, coming home with clients, filling her own events, and as a result, thriving financially. You know, the other thing that happens is at some point you get sick of being a runaround speaker. I used to be a runaround speaker, pack my bag, run to the airport, jump on a plane, sleep in a hotel, give a talk, and come home. It's kind of like a one-night stand, you know. Only you get paid for it, I guess. Okay? But now, you know, I don't have to run. I still run around a little bit, but I don't have to run around to get paid. I can stay in my own zip code and massively monetize. And that's what I want for all of you to learn, and that's what we're going to talk about at the Speaker Intensive, how to give a speech and come home with clients every single time.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. We said earlier on the call, hopefully everyone's gotten great value from this call, but, you know, we are approaching, you know, the hour. It's almost 11 right now. And so we want to take a little bit of time to talk about the event that is coming to Las Vegas and what people can expect to get there. I know that your sought-after speaker summit are a little bit, longer, and this is going to be the intensive, but usually, you cover, how much is too much commission, and, when should you pay and not pay to speak, and of course, crafting your topic. So why don't you go ahead and spend a little bit of time on what the intensive is going to give people versus, maybe the summit. They're a little different. And then also it is Vegas, and we're planning the Palazzo. So
I love the Palazzo. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful, and that's you say Palazzo, I say Palazzo, because I live here. So when you have a double Z, you say T. It sounds like a TZ in Italian. But anyway, at the Palazzo, we're going to have a total blast. And here's the thing. And I'm going to be very, very honest, everybody. The program will match the people in the room. So if we have 2.0 speakers, and Michelle, because of your involvement with the Public Speakers Association, I think we're going to probably have a more 2.0 group. That's the level that the seminar is conducted at, is a level of 2.0, which means we will talk about pay to play. We'll talk about commissions. We'll talk about how to work with other speakers. We will talk about how to come home with clients. We'll spend a good amount of time on mastering your Easy Yes offer, because that's what will get you paid over and over. So those are some things we're going to talk about. Also, we're not going to be a huge group. I don't know, Michelle, maybe you know what our top number is, but sometimes, I hate it when I go to seminars and there's so many people there that I can't get my questions answered. I can't get a moment with the speaker. There's questions that are not of my level, and that's why I like to really modify what we're going to talk about for the people in the room. The other thing that we're going to do, Michelle, which I don't know if I told you, is we're going to send everybody a pre-programmed questionnaire so that I can gauge the level of everybody in the room to make sure they get exactly what they need. And one of the questions on there will be, what do you want to get out of our time together? And I will answer and make sure that we take care of every single one of those. What I do is I support women who want to be loud and proud about the value they bring and want to uplift lives through their work. I support them in creating a business that allows them to be themselves, do their thing, to thrive financially while serving a lot of people. If you're not about service, this is not the right program for you. If you are not interested in monetizing, this is not the right program for you, because you can only give from a full cup. You can only give with your overflow, which is why thriving financially is important. And I do encourage everyone to run their business with a big heart. And we will talk about how do you massively monetize while running your business with a big heart. Because as a speaker and as a coach or consultant, whatever someone may be in their business, you will not have a profitable and sustainable business long term without integrity. So we'll talk about that too. And you will leave being a better speaker than when you walked in. You will leave having massive monetization strategies you didn't have when you walked in. You will leave with the clear formula for your Easy Yes offer that will allow you to come home with clients every time. That is big.
Yeah, it's a transformational time anytime we spend with you, because you're not only insightful, but you make them interactive, and so you help people get really clear about what their business is going to look like, so that they can they have the steps to creating and realizing whatever vision they have for themselves. And then you also are really good at helping them avoid the mistakes that will keep them from monetizing their business. And so it's going to be a really good time. And what I've done is we haven't put the sales page up yet, because we are offering an early bird special 2-for-1 for $297. Normally the $297 would only cover one person, but if you call me or you email me, and you can do that before August 31st. We'll make that happen, and then we'll have the official page with all the details will go up in the next couple of days, and that price will be $497. So, but with Caterina, she creates the most beautiful events. I believe you give out gifts too, which is always nice. And then there is also
we have to give out gifts.
and then also, of course, we are in Vegas, so anything can happen in Vegas. But you know what they say about keeping what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, so that's always fun. Is there anything else you might want to add before we wrap up the call?
Well, just that, I have found that when I invest in myself, when I invest in my speaking, I always gain so much, and that if you're a lifelong learner, if you are committed to speaking as your path, if you know the power of speaking, this intensive will massively serve you. And I will make sure that it massively serves everybody in the room. That's what I do, and I can say that with certainty because under-promising and over-delivering is another guiding principle of my business. We will make sure everyone gets massive value at this event to support them in bringing their massive value to others.
Well, that is great, and I am looking so forward to seeing you. I can't wait to greet all the ladies and figure out what we're going to do. I know that in the past we've had feather boas and different things to make it more fun and more lively, and I just can't wait to see what the Vegas time with you is going to be like. And that event is going to be in October, the first week of October, so mark your calendar, and feel free to give me a call. I'd be happy to share all the details with you. If you go to eventswelike.com/Caterina Rando, you will see under events, you'll see the Las Vegas details there, and then you can plan your trip and come out to the Palazzo and have a great time with us. Other than that, is there anything else you might like to say, Caterina, before we end the call?
Well, I'm really excited about coming to Vegas and being with you at the Palazzo, and we're going to have an awesome time. And come and learn, and we're going to have fun too, and learn to massively monetize your mastery. And the more focus you put on yourself and your speaking and your business, the more you'll be able to serve, which is what it's all about.
Fantastic. Well, see you guys all in Vegas, October 2015. Hope you enjoyed the call. Please email us and tell us what you got out of the call. And if there's anything that you think that we could have done better or that you would like to see at the event, please do email me at michelle@eventswelike.com. I will make sure that Caterina gets your email, your messages, and let's have the best event ever. October 2015, Las Vegas, with the sought-after speaker intensive with Caterina Rando. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the call. And until we meet again, this is eventswelike.com. Michelle Finnegan-Nixon signing off. Thank you, everybody.